Are you wanting to go to another level in your business? Then you must understand the power of your mindset that comes with closing your first big deal. In this episode, we will be sharing how Andrew became bold and closed his biggest deal in his business and how you can too. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Impact You, the podcast where we share real transformative stories that will educate, inform, and inspire you. Thank you for joining us today. Before we get into the nitty gritty, we have a few exciting announcements. So, we have our big Impact You Thriving a Different Way event with Dr. Timble Grandin. That will be happening February 11th, 2023. Tickets are now available. Definitely go to impactyouSpeaks.com. And we also have been working on our community service program, Growing Through Popping Up in Denver. As a small business owner, pop-up shops present some unique benefits. How? Because they're easy to set up and take down. And you can experiment getting your business or service in the Denver market. So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever dreamed of having your own store or storefront? I know I have. So to find out more about our upcoming events or our Growing Through Popping Up program, head over to our website at impactyouSpeaks.com.
So, hey guys, welcome to the podcast. We have Andrew Hazzlee in the house. So excited. So, I have to preface this a little bit because I know Andrew from the podcast. Is it the Colorado Springs Business Podcast? Is that correct? And so he highlights a lot of business owners here in Colorado Springs, but he has a dope business of himself. So he does like video and stuff like that. I'll let you introduce yourself, but while you introduce yourself, I also want to talk about kind of what led you to your business because that's a quite an interesting story as well. So let's just get right into it.
For sure. Yeah. I run a video production company here in Colorado Springs. If you Google Vehement Visuals, it'll pop up on the map downtown. And that's just such a cool thing to have, like an actual office an actual location studio where I can say, hey, you can Google Maps it right now and
I
leave a
know,
review if
right?
you want.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. And that really is just awesome because it's an important thing to have, I think, to be searchable on Google. And when you are searchable in a location for a service-based business like mine, I think that's huge. So yeah, I run a video production company, and I produce my own podcast as well. And we produce videos mainly for businesses to help for like marketing materials and helping them grow. But I mean, we just produce videos. So whether it's like you want to produce a documentary, whether you want to start up a YouTube channel and you don't know where to start, maybe we can help you with that. And sometimes maybe it's not even we're producing like every video for you. Maybe you just have us come in and set things up for you and allow you to have the ability to shoot videos at least without having to hire someone every single time. Which is I think something that has come in a lot more demand, especially with Zoom meetings being more popular now because of what happened with COVID and everything. And I think everyone will have like a video room eventually, like they have like a living room,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I have to say too, just coming from like an entrepreneurial mindset, having the podcast and interviewing small businesses and having that connection it's such a great idea because I think, especially as entrepreneurs, and we'll get back to your story, but like as entrepreneurs, a big like obstacle that a lot of us face is how are we going to reach our customers. And and your podcast is your direct reach out to customers. So one, you're also building your brand. You're also showing people what you can do, but you're also reaching out to your your customers. So I want people to understand that that's such a dope way to kind of really grow your business, market your business, and grow and connect with potential customers. So I just thought that
Hmm.
was really genius. But I
Thank
want
you.
to
Yeah.
go, yeah, absolutely. So I want to go to, because I saw something on social media, on your social media, and you were talking about your journey. So is this your first business, or did things lead to this? Like, how
Hmm.
did that work out for you?
Yeah, I've been starting businesses since I was like 16 years old. And I got bit by the entrepreneur bug when I was like 16 and
We
really
all
wanted
have.
to
Yeah.
make a successful business. And I had started multiple businesses, but none of them ever really going anywhere, or I'd get
Mhm.
distracted with something else, none of them being profitable, really. And this is the first business that I've started when I was 27 in 2019, that actually I would say is successful and growing and thriving. And it's built to, I think, learning all those things, going through all the, quote unquote failures, is something that's built. It's something that I was persistent at. It's like I would still be doing it
Mhm.
even if this business wasn't successful. It's like
Yeah.
this. It's
Yeah.
something that I just love doing. It makes me feel fulfilled.
Yeah. And I want people to hear this, because I think with a lot of entrepreneurs, especially like seeing success, we think, oh, they just started this business and but we don't ever see that they had probably 10. And that's a common story amongst many successful entrepreneurs, is
Hmm.
that there was 10 failed businesses or pivots or whatever you want to call it before you get to the successful one.
Hmm.
And I think that for me personally, and I can kind of see it in your own story, is that it those failures or pivots or adjustments gave us like skills that have helped us in getting to where we are now. So
Hmm.
like can you just kind of like share some of the like different things that you've done?
Yeah, I was actually just talking about this yesterday. I started a business called the Can Man, which is I it was like a recycling business where
Oh,
I would
okay.
go and I would pick up the cans from your house. You would just have to set them up, because some people collect cans and then they go take them to the aluminum for money. So I would just take a percentage of what the current pound uh per aluminum, like aluminum, what the going rate was for there, and I would just I would pick it up for you, but I would, you wouldn't get the full, like what it's going for. You would get like 20 cents less per pound. But
Yeah.
the thing is that I'm picking it up for you, and then I'm going and collecting all the cans and
Nice.
stuff. And that was a fun one. It was a very stressful one. I was a little bit over my head on that. It was basically recycling company. Uh,
Why so?
I thought it was
Like
cool. Oh, what's
why
that?
was it stressful?
Oh, it was a lot of things that you have to learn. And uh, when it comes to being a service that comes and picks up things from
Logistics.
people, and also marketing. I had no idea about marketing at that point then
Okay.
either,
Mhm.
and I put the word out in a few places. I picked up a few things, but never really uh like a few big bags. But I realized I don't know exactly why I stopped doing it, but I realized it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And
And that's always good too, right? Real
mhm.
I tell you, I've done so many different things, and I always say you learn some skills or you learn things that you don't want to do, like, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So what are some other things? I'm curious.
Yeah, so one of them was an energy drink. We had a
That sounds so fascinating.
right. I learned so much about beverages and how to, like, what you
Yeah.
need. Like, you can't hand put on caps. Like, it's illegal. It's against the FDA. Like, you have to have some kind of machine that presses it, whether it's like
Really?
electric or just mechanical. Like, it just can't be your hands physically like putting the cap on.
Wow.
For FDA
Wow.
reasons. Making sure
Mhm.
everything's healthy. Like, if you're making thousands and thousands of bottles, one tiny mistake could really throw, like, people are going to be drinking this stuff, you know? So it's like, you gotta make sure it's good. So it was an energy drink company, and well, it was a record label that we were doing, and energy drinks was our product, like one of our merch products, you know?
Oh,
And
okay.
it was super nice energy, and it was like lemonade. Before, like, they had like a really good energy drink for lemonade, which they have a few of them now. But I bought like a kilo of caffeine, a
Yeah.
kilo of pure androgynous caffeine. Like, it was, they came in a bag. It's a white powder. It was hilarious, you know? And
Mhm.
you know, a small little like scoop, a tiny little scoop is like 150 milligrams. So it's
Oh.
powerful stuff. It's actually, I don't even think you can just buy it like I could. You have to have some kind of license now. There's something that happened because kids
Oh.
were dying
Mhm.
from it, actually, because
Yeah.
a spoonful could kill you. Like a really fat spoonful could kill you, because that's
Yeah.
like 1,000 milligrams, you know, or something like that. And that's insane, you know.
Mhm.
Or at one time in one dose. So I would add like 150 milligrams to like some syrup, and then I bought like 1,000 plastic bottles with yellow caps. They were square, and then I designed the label, and you have to have certain things on the label. I found out, like, you have to have the ounces and all that stuff, and learned so much
Yeah.
fun stuff. And I studied a bunch of energy drinks. I know so much about Monster and Bang, like their marketing campaigns, and like how they've actually been rivals before Bang was even popular. And that's
Didn't
why
Bang just, like, go out of business or bankrupt or
something bad
something?
happened. Yes.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what it was, but
Yeah.
and I think it had something to do with Monster specifically. But it's
Mm.
crazy because Monster, their efforts to like try to compete and you know, dominate the market, they made Rain, which sounds like Bang, but Bang, Rain is Monster's version of Bangs. Essentially, it's like, this is what we're going to do to try to push you out the market. But Bang stayed,
Oh.
and it had a force, you know, and
Yeah.
it really blew up. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't even in gas stations when I was reading all this stuff, and now it's in every single
Yeah.
gas station.
I do energy drinks every once in a while, so and I never heard of Rain. I was big into Bang, I have to say I was one of those.
Yeah.
And then I started, like, kind of it started not doing well with me, so I was like, I need to lay off the Bang. But
For
it's
sure.
interesting.
It's
So,
300
like
milligrams, so it's like, it's strong
oh,
stuff.
I know. It's I was feeling it at first, and then I was like, "Well, maybe," like, doing this and stuff, I'm like, "Maybe this is not good for me," but, so interesting. So, like, I'm curious because that's what like, I've tried a lot of things and,
Hmm.
like, those kinda things just seem like but I'm sure you've learned a lot. So, like,
Yeah.
out of all those things that you've done, and it's led you to a successful business, what were the main things that you pulled from that that actually helped you, build a
Hmm.
successful business? And then we'll talk about how taking you built the successful business and taking it to another level, closing your biggest deal in your business. Because I'm
Yeah.
sure that's all like
Hmm.
developing mindset and just going to the next level and the next level and the next level.
For sure. Yeah. Well, there's a couple other businesses that I attempted to start with, like when I was like 19 and 17, I think. Uh, One of them was the Sweet Spot, where we were just like selling candy and stuff, you know.
Mhm.
And
Was that a brick and mortar?
no, it wasn't. It wasn't not. We had I was still in high school, so I had like a
Uh,
briefcase and
oh,
everything.
okay. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. But
awesome.
I was building a truck for it. Not a truck, but we had a trailer in my backyard that was just sitting there. It was a trailer frame. So I would like, I was working at Hardee's, which is Carl's Jr. here. And because I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. And
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And we had this trailer in the backyard, and I would spend my money to buy lumber because we built it up so we could like haul it around, and it was gonna be like a food truck kind of thing.
Okay.
But we never really finished building that, and I moved on to something else. But one of the
Mhm.
businesses that I first started taking serious, like going to the SBA and like figuring out what I needed to do, was a burger delivery service, which was before Grubhub, it was before Uber Eats, it was before DoorDash and all
Okay.
this stuff. So like we had pizza delivery services, but we didn't have like a specific company that was we still don't actually specifically designed. Maybe we do, I don't know, in New York probably. But uh specifically designed for, like, branded as a burger delivery service. And I
Mhm.
had a moped, and I would cook everything in my house. But one thing I was learning is like, I was 19 and this is the first time I was thinking about scale. I was thinking big. Is like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so what do I got to do? How many stores, how many mopeds do I need to make this $1 billion annual revenue? Not even annual, just to make $1 billion. How many cells? It's like, I was going to Sam's Club. I was dividing like a thing of lettuce. It's like, if how many things of lettuce can we get off this one head of lettuce, and then divide that by the price. And then you got how much the lettuce costs per burger, and
Yeah.
like figuring out all the margins and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
this was the first one that I really like decided to like scale. Like, I was figuring out how many mopeds, how many businesses, like how many physical locations I would need. And that was like, I think that was what like a huge learning point for me.
Yeah.
But my moped got stolen out of my apartment. Like
Oh
it was
no.
kind of a couple things. My roommate really didn't like the house smelling like fast food all the time.
I mean, why?
Yeah, understandably so though. So it did cause a couple fights.
Oh no.
We were 19,
Well,
young and dumb,
yeah. And I think and so I think like even, going through your journey, going through an entrepreneurial journey, you start getting smarter, you start thinking, okay, doing research and logistics and margins and things like that. And I think it's great. I think it's like engage with the process is how I kind of look at it, because you don't know what you don't know. And then once you start doing, because oftentimes, especially if you have this like entrepreneurial mindset, you just jump right in. You jump right
Hmm.
in.
You
And
take the
then it's
risk.
like, you take the risk and it's like, well, maybe I need to kind of take a step back and kind of look at it and look at the
Hmm.
logistics and things like that. So it's really important that you do. So I'm glad that you did that,
Hmm.
and it's led you to your business now.
Hmm. Yeah, and I would
And
like to answer your question too, your previous one, on some what were the things that led to me having a success with this business, what some of the
yeah.
takeaways. I think one of the main differences that I had when I started this business that I didn't have in the other businesses actually was that I decided to find someone who was a proven mentor, someone
Oh,
who had ran a successful video
mhm.
production company, which is what I was seeking to start. And so I found someone. It was the first time I invested a lot of money in just education, in like mentorship. And like, there was a community of other video producers who some of them were actually doing some big things and still doing way bigger things than I'm doing currently. But there was a lot of people in that group too who were, just starting, or maybe a year or two in their business. So having basically like a group of mentors all in it
Mm,
together, we were
okay.
helping each other. And it's really cool. I'm not really active in that group currently right now.
Mhm.
But I mean, I could probably still find lots of benefit from it. But that was one of the huge
Yeah.
differences from all my other businesses, was seeking out help.
Yeah. Community is huge.
Hmm.
Community. And oftentimes you'll hear this so many times, especially with entrepreneurs, is you feel alone. And
Hmm.
that community piece, just like knowing that other people are going through some of the same things that you're going through, whether it's mental or just like even in your own business, is huge. And one of the things that I hear all the time on this podcast is the importance of mentorship. And it is, I mean,
Hmm.
mentorship, they can see things in you that you think you know yourself, right?
Yeah.
I think I know myself. But then like you're talking to someone, they're like, no, Amber. No, 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 no. This is you're being like self-sabotaging, and your imposter syndrome and all this kind of stuff. So it's important to have someone really like give you that like real real feedback that has gone through it, like you said,
Hmm.
and can be that reflection that you need. So I love that. I love that, especially if you're feeling alone in your business and you're on an entrepreneurial journey, community is so, so important. So
Hmm.
yeah,
It's
so
easy to be
let's
skeptical though of online, coaching and mentor
abs
stuff. And that's why most
yeah.
people don't ever do any of that, because it could easily feel like a scam. You got to be cautious of that, because some of them, are.
Yeah, they are. Truly. It's funny because I was just having this conversation with my husband yesterday. Like, why was I having this conversation? But we were talking about it. It's like, you want someone that, because there's a lot of business coaches too that have not built not a
Mm.
one business.
That's why I
And
used
so
the
it's
key word right there was when I used it, I said proven mentor.
right,
That's the key
right.
word, I think, that, like you got to make sure that they've done this before. It's something they've done. Sure, they
Mhm.
could have probably good advice and they could see things that you can't, but if they have never done it before, it makes it really hard for you to not
Yeah.
only listen to them, but it's like how are you supposed to know? I don't
Relate.
know.
Yeah, relate to. Like,
Mhm.
do your due diligence. This is your life. Do your due
For sure. But
diligence.
then I also do think, it's interesting because uh if your goal is to be, I guess, yeah, it's actually, that still applies. I just had a whole thought right there in my head. I went in and out, before I even spoke. But what
Oh,
I
that's
was
okay.
going to relate it to like having a music teacher. It's like if you could still learn how to do really good music and then not
Yeah.
have a successful music career.
Yeah.
But
So,
it maybe
yeah.
would help out if you did learn from someone who was like a pop star or someone, I don't
Mhm.
know.
I think it really depends on what your goal is, especially if you're already
Yes.
in it and you're wanting to go to the next level. I think that
Hmm.
that's really important because then you can find the basics. Like, it's interesting because when I was having that conversation with my husband, he was like, "Well, think about basketball coaches. They're not real, but I don't know about sports, but they
Hmm.
basketball and dribbling and stuff like that. They don't do that, but they can really coach the players on
Hmm.
strategy and how to win." So I feel like it really depends, to your point, because
Yeah.
you're right. It really depends. But especially, I feel like, especially if you want to go to another level, if you're already, you got your business going, if you want to
Hmm.
go to another level, you've already learned the strategies and the skills and the tactics and things like that. So what is it going to take to get me to another level? Speaking of, so one of the things, okay, you started your business, and like
Hmm.
one of the things that, because we're doing business together, and one of the things that you shared with me is like how excited you were about closing your biggest deal. And I think that, a lot of people, especially when they're, just starting out or they're entrepreneur, having the confidence to close your biggest deal, um,
Hmm.
it's hard. And I think that in your journey, you can hear that you learn a lot of things and that actually helped you gain that confidence to close your biggest deal. So I want to hear about that. How was it for you? Like, how did it
Hmm.
feel? Because I think that a lot of people are just kind of like, one day I'm going to close the biggest deal in my business. And so let's just talk about it.
Yeah, and it's an interesting concept too. I mean, not a concept, but an interesting thing to talk about, because it's interesting how it's like it's not going to be my biggest deal next year. It's like,
Right.
and it's easy for me, at least something that I struggle with is being insecure about my own successes. It's
Hmm.
like, yeah, sure, I'm always trying to compare myself. It's like, sure, it's my biggest deal, but it's nothing compared to what this guy is doing, and I have to be careful about that for myself.
Yeah.
It's because
There
it's
will
hard to
always
enjoy your
be
wins
a
if you're not considering them wins.
Yeah, but there will always be a bigger deal, especially if
Hmm.
you have the growth mindset. There will always be a bigger deal. And
Hmm.
so, like, I think that for a lot of people, it's like, it's just that feeling of closing the biggest deal at that moment in
Yes.
time, and it's like, "Wow, now what can I do?" So, it's always going to be a bigger, better
Hmm.
thing, but, like, I did it, now I have the confidence to do it again, and then do it again,
Hmm.
replicate it, and, really, like, pick up speed, and it's all about that confidence, but you have to get it's almost like I always, like, think I don't know why I think about this because 'cause I'm not a dude, but, like, if a dude was to go up to a girl and, he kept getting rejected and things like that, and then the girl was like, "Yeah, I'll give you a chance," and then he's like he gets that confidence, and then he goes and he keeps doing it,
Hmm.
and it's just this thing that keeps like, "I did it. Now all that rejection, like, doesn't mean anything." It's
Hmm.
kind of that kinda thing, if I'm making sense there, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's a numbers game when it comes
Yeah.
to business, or, dating, I guess. It can be a numbers game, I guess. Depends on what your goals are again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing because you can get those rejections, and once you get that win, it can help boost that confidence. And that's one of the hard things about business too, is because people will give up right before they have a coin term, a phrase for it, 3 feet from gold, as that was in Napoleon Hill's book, I think, Think and Grow Rich. So it's like the concept of a lot of people, like, you will get those rejections, but maybe they're just a few no's away from that yes. And that can be a thing. That's what helped me with a lot of the mentorship, is you can bypass a lot of the no's if you have the right knowledge. And when you get constantly like beat down from the no's, that's where a lot of people give up. And so if you can mitigate or I mean, honestly, I think you just got to go through the no's no matter what. But if you can help make it easier in the beginning, that can help, I think, your chances of success, And like you said, though, but like to the feeling, though, it's interesting because the biggest deal that I just closed, it's the same feeling I had when I closed my first biggest deal.
Okay.
You get that same feeling. It's like when I closed my first deal for 2,500, that feeling felt so good. I was like, I'm gonna climb up Pikes Peak, I'm gonna do a backflip, do the money dance or something, and it felt so good. But the euphoria, goes away, and you got to, like, that first deal was even scarier because I didn't know if I could replicate it. It's like closing a deal is one thing, yes, but don't get over cocky or overconfident, because now you got to prove to yourself that you can do it more than once and it wasn't a fluke. So it's like, but this time it was a little bit, but that feeling was still equal. Like, it was equal because I would say it was equal, but it's my biggest deal now. But it also even felt better because I've built a foundation, and I also know that I'll be good next month too, So it's interesting.
So like what I'm hearing is that there's no difference. And that's interesting because it's like, I think that a lot of people are like, once I get to that biggest deal, once I close my biggest deal, but what I'm hearing you say, it's really no different. It's like, get through the no's, get through the rejection, close a deal, and guess what? Repeat it and keep going. And then it's going to, at some point, it's going to be, well, actually, the next one should always be your your biggest deal, because it's like, okay, let's repeat it and go bigger. Let's grow, let's go to the next level, like that kind of thing. So
yeah, and it's interesting because I totally lost my train of thought, and that's why I was like pausing there. I was about to say something, and then I forgot. Yeah, sorry.
no, it's okay, because I think it's so interesting that like you said, it's like that euphoria. And we're always like, whoa, once we get to this level, or once we get to this level, and there's always going to be another level. And I have my like theories on that. I think that, life is about evolution and growing and, going to the next level. And so you're never, and honestly, I feel like you shouldn't be satisfied. Like, you should be like, okay, this was amazing.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah.
What's next? Like, where are we going next? How can we go bigger or better? Do I need to duplicate this process, or do I need to replicate myself to, go to the next level as far as revenue in my business and things like that? So
yeah. Yeah, and I
really,
got to
really
be careful.
interesting.
I think it's probably good for other people to be careful too. It's like, don't bask in it too long, because I get really high off of deals, like so high that I can't even focus. And so I'm so excited that I just closed the deal or whatever. And sometimes the euphoria is overwhelming for me. I think I'm sensitive to chemicals, in my body or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I can get so high off a deal that I can't even focus and get work done. And it's like, the faster I can get back, like, yes, absorb and get back to work, the faster I can keep growing. And honestly, you got to take your breaks, you got to enjoy life.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how I enjoy life. So
I think for me too, like like you said, like it's quick. And like anytime that I felt like I got to a next level, it was like the next day I'm like, well, what's next? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like such a huge crash. And I think that, um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like when it comes to your biggest deal, like all of the things that have led up to it and have like you've developed and the mindset and the confidence to even do the ask, which is, huge. That's
Mm-hmm.
huge to even do the ask. Um, and then you get that deal. It's like, okay, let's get back to work. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
And it's always going and when anytime that you're going to the next level, it's going to require something different from you. Some sort of mindset shift or
Mm-hmm.
some sort of like skill to obtain or something. And so I think that's really
I got a
important
quote
too.
I could punch in there. Uh,
Okay.
a quote from Alex Ramosi. He's recently like come up into internet fame, you could say. But he's a awesome entrepreneur.
Sounds familiar.
But one thing he says is the things that get you to 1 million aren't the things that are going to get you to 10 million.
Exactly.
The skills we learn as entrepreneurs, because
Mhm.
he's even like as entrepreneurs, it's almost like we learn these skills to get to like the first million. And then he's saying, because I haven't got there yet, so I can only go off what he says. But and then he's saying you basically have to unlearn all that to get to the next level. And it's like the things that are going to get you to that next level aren't the same things that got you to where you are today.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get caught in the same thing. And but I think having that knowledge of knowledge is helpful. Is going to help me understand that when I get to that point. So
Yeah.
I'm aiming for that point though.
Yeah, cuz that's what leads you to your next biggest deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different mindset because it's like getting to I feel like honestly, like getting to a certain point and then you're having to do the ask for that biggest deal. This is huge for you. And that
Mm-hmm.
confidence that it takes to get to that ask. It's like, okay, I did it and I accomplished it. Okay, so let's go to the next biggest deal. But then it's also going to take some sort of, shift in your
Mm-hmm.
mindset. It's not like you said, it's not the same mindset that got you that biggest deal. It might be
Yeah.
minute, but it's still something.
Mm-hmm.
Because what often happens is that self sabotage and imposter syndrome usually kicks in when you're going to another level. And it's like, can I ask for this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I that was my biggest deal, but maybe I'm supposed to just stay there. And often
Yeah.
those kind of things come up in that narrative in our minds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like it's really important to recognize that what you said is that, that next biggest deal, there's going to be something else, whether it's more confidence, it's going to take a different skill.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to um adjust my mindset a little bit and think about like replication of myself.
Yep.
Maybe I can't get to that next level just me. Maybe I have
Mm-hmm.
to hire a team or hire
Mm-hmm.
an assistant or something like that. So it's really interesting, but like um even with the bit, getting to that biggest deal and doing the ask, it's like all of those things that you've gone through as a, business owner, trying those different things and going for that ask. It's huge. It's huge for a lot of people. And like a lot of people will self-sabotage themselves and not even ask for it. I think that's really important. The confidence that you've obtained over the years
Mm-hmm.
is huge. And it sometimes for the listeners out there, it takes you to just jump in like you did. I did too. I just
Mm-hmm.
jump in and then it's like, oh, okay, well maybe I need to consider some things like some logistics, some margins, maybe some operations, some systems in place to really get me to the next level and really like get me to success and then doing the ask for that biggest deal in my life, my
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. And
So
it's cool because like maybe you don't like doing the asking and maybe you find out someone else can ask better than you, and you hire them and, give them a percent.
yeah.
It's, and oftentimes it is, building a team. And, it really depends on your type of business. A lot of like if you're a coach, you still probably should build a team. But some people start out, hitting the ground with having seven employees, like that's how they started their bit. Like that was day one for them, well, probably not day one, but starting out with half their business couldn't operate without having employees set in place. Like say you get a franchise, if you get a franchise, you have a lot of those things set in place for you. And that's why some people go down that route. Like me running a business podcast, I'm talking to entrepreneurs of all kinds, some people who probably don't even consider themselves entrepreneurs, they just own a business. That's probably how they really feel.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Entrepreneur was such a trendy word. And I think that it's kind of getting like not as trendy now because people are like, you're just buying a job and things like that, which is true for a lot of people. And so I think that even like reframing how we look at entrepreneurship too is really, really important because I don't want another job.
Me neither. As soon as you get a taste, it's like you can't go back. And I remember I was reading like entrepreneur. I was getting Entrepreneur magazine, and that's a magazine that says entrepreneur on the top. That was when I was 16. That's when I got bit by the bug. So it's like, it wasn't like hyped up social media. Like this is something that I fell in love with, the idea of being able to build something myself. Like I automatically knew that I wasn't going to go to college. Actually, like when I found entrepreneurship, I was like, I don't need it. I can build what I want off of that. And honestly, certain college would be good, like I do want to learn physics, and I think going to college, I don't think I need to go to college for that, but I think it could be helpful.
So I went to college and I went for business. It was business and information technology, but I always knew I wanted to have my own business. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I remember there was one class, it was called Small Business Entrepreneurship or something. And I was like, this is all? But I mean, for the most part, I learned marketing and strategy and strategic business and things like that. But it came from a different perspective. I'll say that. And so I was like, I was a little disappointed. I still got it. I still got my degree. I don't use it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, that's good though. I mean, it shows your dedication, I think, and to the goal, to the dream. I'm not against college for other people. I'm just against it for me. I'm a very stubborn person, and it's a character flaw, and it's also probably a good thing. It's like it's a flaw to the point like I will try to figure something out to the maximum before I have to ask someone for help. And like one time I even rebuilt someone's logo just because I didn't want to ask them for it.
Oh, really?
Like, it was a simple, easy logo to build, but like, well, they said I could only find like low resolution versions of it. I could have easily just been like, hey, can you send me a file? But I was like, I'll just build it real quick, and then I'll get on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Like that's how stubborn I am. And I think that is where it becomes a flaw but I think it also, I don't know, it's probably beneficial too, but yeah.
I mean, it's all about perspective. It's all
about
perspective. So I know you're busy and I don't want to take too much of your time, but is there anything that you want to leave the listeners with?
Nothing specific. I didn't have anything planned though. As I do more podcasts, it's something I'm going to want to go in. I kind of like to just freestyle things and let podcast conversations go how they go without putting too much thought into it, because I think that's where the good organic stuff comes out, and that's where you learn about yourself as well too. But I think it could be beneficial if I like put together some things, to prepare for, just in case, like because I want to do a lot more people's podcasts. I just did one yesterday actually, so
cool.
yeah
Okay.
and we talked a lot about the same concepts, because his podcast is about entrepreneurship. And it's actually very wild because he hired me. He's the only other person that hired me for the same place, the same venue that you're hiring me at.
Oh, really? Oh, is that what you were talking about that one time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we scheduled this like a week or two ago. So when you said Wednesday, I was like, I guess this is just the week of podcasts for me.
Yeah. Well, since that's all, I'm just going to close it here. But thank you so much for joining us on this podcast and listening today and taking a moment out of your day to spend it with us, me and Andrew. And so all of Andrew's information is going to be below this podcast, or if you're watching it on YouTube, is going to be in the description box below. And so I hope you guys enjoyed and you close your biggest deal, and we'll check you in the next episode.
Nice.